Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'm discussing my thoughts on episode 12 of the anime series Noragami Aragoto. It's like, what the hell was going on in this episode? I mean, we're talking friggin' World War III between the near and far shores by the end of it, by its culmination. My freaking goodness, like, mind blown. Picking up with the teeth-grindingly, edge-of-your-seat, palpable action and tension of Bishamon being all but captured by Izanami, and, you know, of course, Yato's still captured, and it, like, looks like all bets are off. Forget it. We're done. We finally find out on the top side, you know, the topsoil, that Bisu's plan for Hiyori was not nearly as ominous as I thought it would be. A soul call, whereby you call the name, and he says, like, he doesn't know if it would work with a god. So I'm wondering, well, then who would this have worked for previously for him to even concoct this idea? Souls of those lost regalia? I'm not exactly sure, but I mean, it works for Bishamon almost instantaneously because that's her real name. Yato, not so much. You know? And, like, just the fight that Bishamon and her regalia were putting up to that point, and then she's, like, you know, Star Trek beamed the hell out of there with the soul call, and the tension that is arisen as the higher echelons of the gods are now come and calling for Bisu. They're going to put him to death, public execution style, with this just insane army. You know, I mean, they have an army against one guy. For all intents and purposes, we haven't seen anything to lead us to believe he's actually this primeval, like, villain worthy of all of these gods. They won't even let themselves be known. They're all wearing hoods and everything to keep their anonymity. It's like, show yourselves. If you got the cojones enough to want to take Ibizu down, and take him down in front of all these other people who are, like, you know, working side by side with him, show yourself. Take credit. You know, don't wimp dick all of a sudden now that, you know, you're trying to cast doubt on him, you're trying to put him to death and all this stuff. Own up to it, whoever you are. But, of course, just that whole idea, Yato realizing as Bishamon has been scooped out, that he might be saved, but then Nora reminding him, well, you've never been honest, all told, with Hiyori and Yukine and all that stuff. They don't really know your real name. Nobody knows your real name. You're screwed. When they show Izanami pouring that, like, rotten trash bin food, that refuse all over Yato's face and getting all up on top of him, eat the food, stay with me, it's like discomforting to watch. I was like, you know, I'm sure I was making that face watching that whole sequence. And, like, for Hiyori to put her brain into motion, showing how integral she is. If there was any doubt, I mean, I still, even at this stage of the game, I still hear people pitching about how, air quotes, annoying Yukine and Hiyori are, how pointless their characters are. Really? Like, are we watching the same show? But the proof is in the pudding now. She, single-handedly, going back over the creation of that shrine she made for Yato. She's going over what she studied previously, we saw in a previous episode. She's going over the calligraphy of his name spelled out. And it is her, singularly, who figures out what his real name is and saves him from the brink by the skin of his teeth, calling out his genuine name. And I am going to be wondering, you know, like, without being as familiar with Japanese mythology and the gods and all that kind of stuff, like, what exactly it is about this true name for Yato that he was so ashamed of and so wanting to keep hidden. And, you know, is it something tantamount to, like, destruction? Like, even more so, even to an nth degree more than, you know, the sort of calamity god that he is known to have been already? I can only guess. I can only assume. But the sheer power, when these higher echelon gods pull out that electrified dragon mother trucker, like, man, my mind was blown seeing that to begin with. But then Bishamon unleashing Cosmo's, I don't even know if it's his full potential. Like, did he reach his final form? I don't know. But he took this thing down. A couple of tries reaching out. We're seeing it from his POV. I loved seeing it from his POV. Stretching, miles up into the heavens. But by his point of view, it was like right there in front of him. And he rips that electrified dragon to shreds, being the full-on blessed vessel of Bishamon. But we're not done there. We are certainly not done there. Because as everyone is trying to be on the run, pacification ring time, which might as well be the heavenly equivalent of an H-bomb, a nuclear blast, or an atomic blast. My mouth was agape. My eyes were bugging out of my skull. I'm like, holy crap. Seriously? This is what you're bringing to the table at this point? This is how bad you want Abisu to go down? One of these guys, the guy calling the shots, the guy putting the pacification ring together, is this father? Are we finally going to have this revealed to us? We got one episode left. Like, I'm starting to wonder. Are we actually going to see the culmination and the reveal? I don't know. They might pull this for like a third season. I won't be complaining as far as having another season to watch. I love this show. I love its characters. But I do want to see this come to a conclusion. And as I meant to understand per some of the comments I've seen on mine and others' videos regarding this, I know a lot of people have been sort of apprehensive and up in arms that they're screwing it up, air quotes, from the manga, which apparently there are things that should have been revealed by now. I don't know what those things are. Not being familiar with the manga myself, please no spoilers in the comments or, speculations and such like that. But I mean, as an anime-only viewer, I'm enjoying what we're getting, but I am starting to freak out, like, are we missing something very integral to this story that's gonna, sort of not give us closure by the end of the finale? Or during the finale? Final episode of the season next week? I don't know. But as I say, we're not done, because Yato is going to even blight it, even with that hardship between he and Yukine finally confronting him in a similar means to how we saw him voicing how he feels and his concerns to Hiyori previously about Nora, and Yato's perhaps ill-perceived distrust. Like, I don't think he, doesn't trust them. He's trying to protect them from whatever truths he has hidden in his own past, as well as, the influence Nora still holds over him, which it's interesting, that, like, there isn't, he basically has said that Nora has never blighted him or caused him pain. So you can kind of see why he'd still be attracted to her, whether there's a familial relation and it's his little sister, or it's because they have a bond or something beyond words and emotions that we as yet haven't really delved into, but we've only seen hints of, really. There's still enough there between them to speculate as well. And it's kind of like, I hope we're going to figure that out at some point. But once everything is said and done, Yato's going to make and hold true to his promise for Abisu to get him to that little pub to have his little dinner and everything, save him from the higher echelon gods. They unleash another one of these atomic blasts, and in mid-air, Yato, having now summoned Yukine, jaw effectively on the floor, salivating on my carpet because I cannot believe what I'm seeing, Yato uses his blessed vessel, Yukine, to slice this thing in four chunks. It still explodes. They still have the impact of that impact wave, that eruption. But I mean, holy hell. if you were impressed by Kazuma scenes earlier, by what he accomplished against that Electro Dragon thing, mind was blown when Yato takes down this explosive emanation and effectively throws for a loop all the higher echelon gods with it. But still, we're not even done by that point, because in the aftermath, in the wake of that explosion, it looks like Bishamon and Yato, looks like they are chained to the ground, and you have Ebisu standing in the center of another penultimate impact, seemingly. And with the screen going white, and it fades out right there corresponding to that, well, I think Ebisu's days are done. I think we're going to see a reincarnation, man, by the start of next episode. And, like, just the whole time, eyebrows raised, jaw dropped. Like, even if things are being left out of this particular story, I'm only just now starting to perceive, like, okay, let's... Now I'm worried a little bit. Let's get to the culmination. Let's start having these puzzle pieces fall together. This has been a roller coaster ride. It's been torrential. You know, the ups and downs, ins and outs of this story. I've been on the edge of my seat. My jaw, like I said, I was completely just... I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. I was stricken with just having to see every last bit of detail of what was unfolding. And then by the end, I had that just little hint of, oh man, I hope we're going to be able to have this story conclude next episode. Like, we still got to contend with who the hell is father. Are we going to find out? I don't know. Is the finale going to be dealing with the aftermath of these higher echelon gods taking Ebisu down and everyone having to sort of get back to the lives they were living before all of this? With that ominous overhanging curtain of father's still out there. He's still got machinations. I don't know. Hell of an episode. But I will say, not one without that hint of concern as far as, are we going to get some closure to this story? I don't know. The episode is just gangbusters. Like that blast of that pacification ring, it washed over me like awesome sauce, amazeballs. And only by the end was I like, oh man, what are they going to do? Like, getting us to this point, how can they possibly conceivably tie up all the loose ends? I don't know if they're gonna. But the surefire thing I'm left with by the end of this episode is I cannot frickin' wait to see. Like, I was dumbstruck, thunderstruck, awestruck, struck by the end of this episode. And I'm dying to see what happens next, dying to see if they can actually bring some sense of closure to this. Let me know in the comments below, you know, what your speculations are, if you're a manga follower, if you're more familiar with that story, or you're, you know, familiar with both the anime and the manga, if you've been enjoying it or not, love it, hate it, whatever. And anything goes in the comments below. I love having the conversation. But especially, you know, prohibiting any posts of spoilers or anything like that. Let me know. You know, does it seem like they're going to potentially bring this all to a close with a large chunk of it missing, which might then be explored in another season or something along those lines? I'd be very curious to find out. Because unless they bum rush everything into the finale, I don't know if they're going to be able to bring this all to a close or not. And it'd be pretty annoying with how well-paced and action-packed and captivating this entire season has been to suddenly falter here and now. That would be a little irksome to me. But, yeah, all I can ask is for you to let me know what you thought of the episode, any, you know, particular, as I say, non-spoilery speculations or info you might have about what they've left out, and if you feel it will or won't conclude with a sense of satisfaction by the end. So yeah, otherwise bring on the next one as soon as humanly possible. And that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.